Yeah, so it's a huge debate today. Digital versus analog. My little sign has gone out the way on my to let people know what's going on, but it's fine. So we're debating digital versus analog today. It's a story as old as time. Like how many years has it been since digital came around? Probably like 400 years, something like that. Shakespeare, was it something that invented it?
No, late Triassic,
Late Triassic.
the first appearance of a web.
Yeah, because I thought it was like Noah's Ark, because he was into like binary, wasn't he? Like two by two and that kind of thing. So I thought maybe he was the inventor of it.
No,
Quite a controversial guy.
Noah recorded on wax cylinders.
Did he?
Primarily it was wax cylinders because the animals' claws could scrape into them. So animals could do live overdubs and like live. It was kind of like a live set, how people now work with the drum machine. Animals would scratch into the wax cylinders live as the floods came over the sides of the boat. So mainly it was wax cylinders there.
You see, this is what I'm saying here. So we've got two knowledgeable gentlemen here. We've got Ash and Matt, Purple City. Not Souffle, just Co. Just Co. There's been
My beer got overexcited at the debate.
what kind is that? Analog beer or?
Well, it's an export, so yeah, it's analog, very much analog. It has to physically come in from another country.
I must say the transport of that would have gone through a digital processing plant. So, and that sound was very much iconic of the 320 MP3. So, yeah, I like what you did there. It's very good digital stuff there.
So I'm going to go and check the screen in a minute and just make sure that my little pop-up is there so everyone knows what we're talking about here. But yep, we're getting into it today. Digital versus analog. We asked you, the viewers at home, what you want, what you thought about the debate, what your questions were, and we've got a few comments here. So let's just have a look at one. So Middle Class Junglist, which is, probably one of my favourite kinds of junglist. The only kind, really. Says Matt Damon. That's his thoughts on this. Matt Damon. What are you guys' thoughts?
I've just put beer all down myself.
As you know, Matt Damon went to Mars, and he had to use digital equipment to do that. It was quite interesting how he managed to do that in that god awful movie. Have you ever seen
Suburbicon, terrible.
Great film. He was
Film directed by George Clooney, shot on digital. Shit, mate.
well. I mean, that's the argument, I guess.
So it's interesting the Middle Class Junglist brings up Matt Damon because, interestingly, Matt Damon is actually a famous breakpoint in the analog versus digital argument. So Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won an Oscar for Best Screenplay for Good Will Hunting. And when they were in they were writing partners at the time. They don't write together anymore. And essentially, analog versus digital is what drove them apart because at the point they wrote Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon wrote analog, hence I assume why Middle Class Junglist has flagged it.
But the argument to that, Matt, is that Matt Damon again won an Oscar for comedy, best comedy for The Martian, and only a digital algorithm would class that as a comedy.
We didn't write it.
He didn't write it, but he was in it, and he won an Oscar for it for his role in the film. And it's not a comedy, but a digital algorithm told the Oscars, told the committee it's a comedy. Therefore, it must be classed as a comedy. And therefore, digital is great because The Martian is a great film, and it won an Oscar for it.
The Martian is a good film, but Good Will Hunting's a better film. And
Contention.
basically, they fell out because Matt Damon insisted on writing analog, so he used a typewriter. And Affleck, by this point, had found Word, and he had a word processor. This is 95. We're in the fire of development. We're in the heat.
Shout out Windows 95, by the way. Shout out Windows 95 each and every.
So Matt Damon's a bit stuck on, I don't really know how to do this scene where I talk about apples and when Minnie Driver over, I'm struggling. He's got no help. Ben Affleck's got a fucking paperclip that's like, you look like you might be narratively stuck on your Oscar-winning picture. Can I help? And Ben's like, yeah, you can, because I've written 2/3 of this film on Microsoft Word, and there you are with the help. Whereas Matt Damon, he hadn't even finished the first fucking scene. Ben Affleck's written most of the film, and they won a joint Oscar for screenplay.
Which means, again, with digital, you can do half the work and get double the credit. Legend. Imagine that digital has made someone be able to do half the work and get equal the amount of praise, and that is why digital is good. It cuts down, it makes you more productive.
But my point is, Middle Class Junglist hasn't mentioned Ben Affleck. He's mentioned Matt Damon.
For what reason? Not because of Good Will Hunting, because of The Martian.
No, but my point is, the analog guy is getting the props.
I think for something like this, middle class junglist needs to get in touch and say which Matt Damon reason he decided to say Matt Damon. I think that's what needs to happen.
I really appreciate everyone getting involved and asking their questions on the Business Techno Institute channel.
Chat up on there.
Have we got the chat? My question
We
is,
need to get the TikTok chat up so we can see some questions.
has middle class junglist been means tested?
Your audience
It might not be middle class. That's all I'm saying. Anyone is allowed to comment, and I think that's great. I promote open dialogue. But has anyone actually checked the middle class junglist? It's all unbelievable.
Middle class person. What's wrong with
I mean,
Wow, it sounds like you are. Oh, la-di-da. Sounds like an analog if ever I've heard one. Sorry, your chin hurting from all that stroke.
So I have the beard. It gives a cushion. If I didn't have my beard, my chin would actually be like half a mil thinner. Just because I've basically, I got told this. This is an interesting sort of feather in the cap of analog.
Sounds it.
I actually had to go. I had to go to a doctor for excessive chin stroking, and he was like, "You've got a very thick and full beard, Matthew." And I was like, "Thanks, doc, but I don't know why I had to lean in to say that. You're kind of in my personal space." But he said, essentially, if I hadn't have had a beard, the amount of chin stroking I've done over the years, considering analog, I would have the same skin quality as someone with third-degree burns, because I would have lost that many layers of skin. But my beard has looked after me, and that's why you need a beard, you need an analog record deck.
The thing is, when you use digital, you just don't stroke your chin as much. You're like, you know what? 1-2 kbps is great. It's honestly great. You can't tell the difference. If anything, it sounds better than your clicky-clacky vinyl record.
But if you do have a tune at 128,000 BPM, we'll probably sign it.
Yes.
By all means, put that in the Purple City inbox. We might have that.
Just wanted to chime in on the old Matt Damon style debate. So we've got Martian versus Good Will Hunting. I would say The Martian for me feels quite analog because there's a lot of dust involved, which is we like techno dust, remember?
Yeah.
So that's quite important. Robin Williams' beard, very analog. That is very analog.
Yeah.
It's got quite an analog beard, unless that is actually digitally created. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then Ben Affleck, when he was Batman, I've seen plenty of people like that at techno clubs and that kind of stuff. So he's like an analog drum machine, but in human form in a way.
Yes, he is. He is the 808 of Batman's.
Or the WAV of Batman's.
The one said, is that Ant?
I don't know who that is. You know who that is?
That's the shorter one from Ant and Dec, right?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Geordie comedian and host of I'm a Celeb.
Is that Aikman Parlin?
So weird. Who would win in a no rules MMA fight between Zone 32 and Matt Damon? Who wants to take that? No rules.
I'm gonna say Matt Damon because he looks like a tank. Have you ever seen that film where he's like he's on the Great Wall of China?
Yeah, it's called the Great Wall. It's called the Great Wall. It's literally called the Great Wall of China.
It's just fighting with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, for what? In the rules sequence.
What's that?
No rules fight. We're going to answer your question here. No rules fight. Matt Damon versus a Zone 32. Who would win?
Wait, did it say no rules or MMA?
No rules MMA.
How can you have no rules MMA? Because that would immediately, you've got to do a martial art. So there's a rule. There's already a rule. Essentially, if it was no rules, you could be like a pissed up tech guy at a Christmas party, just sweating in a shirt from TK Maxx, and you could throw someone into the corner.
MMA rules. I don't know what they are.
I don't know them either.
Sports. But
It's in a Grady's in a.
So just maybe it's in an octagon. Maybe that's what makes it kind of.
I mean, the rules of the octagon are absolute.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of no rules.
Yeah.
The rules of the octagon are beyond absolute.
Machine drum Octa. What's it called? Octa samples.
But I feel like Matt Damon would win. Like you said, he looks like a baked potato. He's dense. He's a bit like corned beef. He's just.
but that that mixing desk is bulletproof. It is.
That's
strong.
that's what I'm saying. Like, he's kind of
Will he
like.
injure himself trying to attack it.
Well, no, I think Matt Damon's best strategy against Zone 32 is it?
Yeah, zone 32
So,
mixing desk. Yeah.
I don't think Matt needs to do a lot. I think he just needs to take the hits and wear out the opposition. Like, it's not about Matt's technique. It's about the fact that Matt, as an analog unit, can just take the abuse.
Yeah.
Whereas the digital unit is very fragile. There's a lot of coding. There might even be a rogue string of code, and it can't work on the day. And you have to spend an hour on phone with IT just to get. Yeah, exactly, and then you're there going, oh, hi, is that IT? I put in a ticket 2 days ago. Zone 32's not fighting Matt Damon properly, and then you have to wait for the department to get back to you. Whereas analog, you just fucking give it a wipe down.
Not to get all tinfoil hat and everything about this, but are we trying to say that Matt Damon is not AI? Because he is. Let's be honest. Like, I'm putting out into the universe. Argue me if you need to, but pretty sure he's AI.
What? The 76ers basketball player Allen Iverson.
No, Matt Damon.
Yeah, he's not Allen. Matt Damon's not Allen Iverson. They're two totally different people.
He might also wait. Why are we talking about Allen Iverson? I zoned out. I was reading the rec.
They work in different departments. I don't think.
To bring this out, so you got one of these. This is what people would say.
Also available on digital.
It's called. Sorry.
This is what people would say is analog.
This one's newer and costs more to buy,
What's it
and that
called?
one's out of stock, so you should buy this one.
What is it called again? It's C. What is it? What kind of thing is it? C. What is it?
So that's a record.
A record.
Yeah.
It's a record. I've never seen one before myself. I used to live in a workhouse. I'm not really allowed to listen to music. No, you couldn't. No, we all have to sing songs. We're like, give us some more.
Yeah.
Give us some more.
Pete Seeger style, songs of the people, songs of the field,
Songs of the field.
songs of oppression and struggle.
So we've got this record, and how does this make you feel?
So the way this works is, so you go to our Bandcamp and you buy one of these. This is a record. So you buy the record, and by buying that then enables you, that gives you access to download a digital folder of the files that are on the record. So that's how you access the music. So by buying that, you can then listen digitally to the record as much as you want.
What about when you want to hear the frisbee itself?
Well, no, so what you do is you get the record that you've bought, you bring that up on your phone on either Bandcamp or a streaming service like Spotify, and you then run an analog cable called an AUX from your phone into your sound system, and you can then play the music on the record.
Baffles me that. I'm all for it. This is great. I don't know why people don't do more of these, to be honest. So really good.
So what is it? Is it a kind of game or something? Is it or?
What it is, this is high-end audio right here. So what you're getting with this is you are getting like perfect, like physical, tangible quality audio music, which you just don't get with digital anymore. You just don't get it.
But that is digital.
That?
This is not digital.
Well, no, it is, because we had to send WAVs off to get mastered to
But
be
they
cut.
were mastered for physical.
Yeah, but like without the digital files, you can't put anything on the record.
If we wanted Etch to come into the studio, he could have recorded it straight onto vinyl if he wanted to, but he didn't. He chose to do the digital version, which I find a bit odd.
Yeah, because it's preferable. It's better.
It was your executive decision on the label, and I was against it. I'll be honest.
No, you weren't.
I was against it. No. And you were like, no.
Look,
he needs
I
this
said
guy. No. He needs this guy. He wants to record it not onto vinyl.
I
And
beg to
was
differ.
Fuming.
I was very
I let it
clear.
slide. I let it slide.
No, I was very clear. I said, if you have an issue with how we're approaching this project, Ashley, my partner in business,
What's that, man?
leave a note on Slack or Trello. And I didn't get an update. I didn't get any pings on my phone to say Ashley's left you a message on Slack and or Trello.
So you brought up an interesting point there with the WAV. I would say, what's the question to you? Who would win in a no rules MMA fight, WAV or Matt Damon? Who would win?
Matt Damon, because he's an analog character. He is the physical embodiment of music. Yeah. They would make sense.
I was saying as well, you can't spell MDMA without MD, and that's Matt Damon.
Or MMA.
Or you can't spell MMA or MDMA.
Just putting it out there. I don't want to go, I don't want to go tinfoil hat. I don't want to go too flat earth theory, but I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the company of Joe Rogan.
That's unbelievable.
Try and spell MDMA without MMA. You can't. It's literally not happening.
And Matt Damon has got MD in his name.
Well, that's, I mean, I'm not saying Joe Rogan is the last bastion of truth in a digital age,
I mean,
but a digital age, the age we're in.
I don't think we are. No, I don't think we are. And you call him Paul, but the Lamb Rogan Josh was here before Paul Rogan, and you know that. You know that. Don't pour the wool over my eyes with your digital Spotify podcast. No, the Lamb Rogan Josh was made long before Paul Rogan.
He just rebranded. Previously, he was Paul Booner. He was always there doing it. He told too much truth and he had to rename himself.
I'd say so.
He was always there doing it. He was always there doing it. He told too much truth and he had to rename himself.
I'd say so. Save Europe.
He was always there doing it. He told too much truth and he had to rename himself.
I'd say so. Save Europe.
Literally built a fucking cabin. Analog phone, mate.
Oh gosh, goodness me. Yeah. So I think we're back again. We're on the
Sorry, that
Wi-Fi
was
this time.
See again, analog, we wouldn't have had that problem. That was a digital fault.
Yeah, if we were connected by, is it Ethernet analog?
Yes.
Yeah, so connected by an analog Ethernet cable, we would have been quite a warmer situation in general. But yeah, it looks like we're back now, which is brilliant. So we were just talking about digital pinger files, our thoughts on digital pingers and not PNG files. What was you had some really interesting stuff to talk about peer to peer.
Yeah, so you're very pro digital on your. You were like, oh, let's go to LimeWire and get our peer to peer songs. I'm like, have you ever met your mates in a pub? You can just swap records in a pub and have a delicious pint.
Well, I'm from a seaside town, so
I've loads of pubs.
what I was going to say is, as someone from the seaside, I've been moving peer to peer since before computers. Like, don't even try and talk to me about peers and knowledge of peers. All right, Clacton peer, done it.
Have you?
Chroma peer, done it.
Don't even know what that is.
Brighton peer, set fire to it. I mean, done it. Literally, I'm the reason the Upbeats had to move their tour. Sorry.
You're the worst. Not the Upbeats. Don't do that to the Don't do the Upbeats.
Good lads. I'm a big fan. But yeah, so peers, they're analog. So peer-to-peer technology is analog because you go person to person, peer to peer, location to location. That's analog tech.
One thing I know how to win an argument is to rhyme. I've heard of peer to I've heard of peer to peer, but I haven't heard of beer to beer.
Let's cite it.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And so I would say, cheers to that. Happy New Year, everybody.
And see, I think this is the overriding message of this. Like, clearly, we come from different schools of thought. Mm-hmm. We all have our opinions, some correct, some incorrect.
Some are incorrect.
But we're friends. And we get together to discuss music and culture and pushing the art form forward. That's what the Business Techno Institute is. That's what you established it for.
It was half of it's paranoia, but then another half of it is pushing things forward with art.
Yeah, exactly. And the third half is connection.
And third half is like being connected.
And which is so difficult in the analog world.
Yeah.
But in the digital age, it is so much easier to find your people, speak to your people, create communities. Like, club music would have never got deconstructed if it wasn't for the online blogosphere of Night Slugs.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that era of music, club music would still be constructed and fun. And no one wants that. What we want is 2 kick drums and a skeletal synth sound.
Yeah.
Just endlessly for 8 hours whilst we're doing digital pingers.
Well,
that's what you want from music. And prior to digital, that just wouldn't have happened.
Prior to digital, it always happened. When you said, let's go to a rave, you could put a phone number in a magazine, or like you go to like a school, not school, a university town or a pub window. You put a phone number in it, someone will call it. You'll all go to a field and you build community via
All the windows were smashed on the pub that I grew up in.
Well, that's your own fault. That's your peer-to-peer town mentality.
I didn't choose to be born peer-to-peer in Great Yarmouth.
You were born peer-to-peer and you will never change. I was born beer-to-beer. I grew up on the orbital, mate.
Shout out my North Circular crew.
So there's a comment here from our Instagram page, which you should check out. It's the same name as whatever the hell is bottom of the screen. So it's KSB Life. He says neither. Is that possible?
Yeah, totally.
How do you neither?
Well, that's when you get into the creative spirit realm. And that is beyond analog and digital. And that's where everyone is essentially trying to get to. And I assume KSB Life has got there. They are ahead of us, essentially. They are a further life form. As I said, I don't know if I mentioned, I watched Interstellar a few days ago.
You mentioned, yeah.
And they speak about humans that can move in the fifth dimension, which is the ability to map time in a physical space.
Move your mouth away from the mic. I can't hear you over the chin stroking.
I actually use the beard as an analog pop shield, so that's not true.
Of course.
You can hear me. You can totally hear me.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't know what I was talking about to try and make a witty comment. So,
You just have to get into the fifth dimension if you want to be neither analog or digital.
I mean, KSB's life is probably already there. Otherwise, he probably couldn't even communicate with us in such a rudimentary fashion now as he is.
What do you reckon? You got someone else to post it for him?
No, I'm saying, like, to get to the fifth dimension and then still be able to come back and lower yourself to speaking on Instagram, you must be somewhere further forward than us. And that's where we want to get to. And at that point, you know, you can press records with your hard drive. You can
The Equinox.
you can filter an analog sound through the sheer power of your mind. Like, whatever you want to do, you can just do that. And that's neither. That's where we're trying to get to collectively as a community.
To be fair, that sounds great. My third eye is truly open.
No, it's truly open. Yeah, he's got a third eye, and I've got one ear that works.
But between us, we've got everything we need
We're a fully human being.
to progress.
I was going to say, Joseph Chain said, "Damn, that's crazy." And then LJ Official Page says, "Greeting, gents. Analog is by far the moment capturing the precision on vinyl is unmatched." So, what do you say to that?
I mean, I suppose that depends on your definition of precision. Like, because when you say the precision on vinyl is unmatched, do you mean the depth of the sound, the warmth of the sound, the size of the record, perhaps? Because you can have a 7-inch, you can have a 10-inch, you can have a 12-inch. That's not precise. They're wildly variable. And if you went to an astrophysicist and said, "Oh yeah, the variation's about 5 inches," they'd be like, "You're fucking mad, man. I can't turn a rocket with a 5-inch variation. This is going to end the whole world." So I think I need a bit more detail. Is what I'm saying. I need a little more information before I can truly answer that.
Because, you know, obviously what you would think is that a vinyl is like a fingerprint. Each one's completely unique. It's like a snowflake. However, I think if you go to the macro level,
we did 200 of the record playing at the moment, and they're all exactly the same. That's the point.
that's the thing, that
They're
they're all
not
exactly the
like
same.
they're supposed to be the same.
No, 'cause you listen to them, it's the same song. That's exactly the same.
But that's what I'm saying. So like we press 200, they're supposed to be the same. If we did it digitally, they would be identical. The vinyl may be all a little bit different.
Does the size of the needle count? Does that count?
No, not at
It
all.
doesn't count.
It's irrelevant. That's just a thing they made up to sell you more needles.
That's the bishop said.
Sorry, that was a question from Yaz. Thanks for joining into the discussion.
Thank
So
you,
you're saying that
Yaz.
the size of the needle does not count. If you've got a small needle, that's fine. You can still listen to the music. Is that what we're trying to say here?
The music is in your heart, not your needle.
That's great. Yeah, I like that.
Have a decent sized needle over there. It hasn't been used in a while, as you can see by the dust on my record player, because I don't really care the analog. Why would I do that when I've got streaming services?
But see, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, would you rather have a big dry needle that you haven't used for 100 years, or a current moist small needle? The point is, it doesn't matter. What matters is you can hear the art, you can connect with it, and you can use it to further yourself. The needle is just a tool. You know, if you knock down a house, You decide, I don't like this person. I'm going to ruin their life. I'm going to smash their house up. They're really proud. They got a two-bed in Billericay for 400 grand. I'm not happy about that. I'm knocking it down. If you go knock that house down, you don't blame the hammer. The hammer is just the tool that you use to exact your emotional revenge.
The needle is the medium. The needle is the medium, is what you're saying. It's the middleman.
It's not relevant. It's
The needle is the in between, the
Yeah.
go between.
Yeah.
Just like Spotify is, and you love Spotify
yeah, because
because it's the tool.
it's a great tool. Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. Like, you know, if you picked up a record deck needle and said, I want to listen to Metallica's fourth studio album,
You love Metallica.
it would immediately go, well, I can't do that because you don't own the copy of Metallica's fourth studio album, which you need. And so you've got to go to some dusty old record shop, and it's 45 minutes on the bus, and it's 28 quid because now everyone charges dumb money for analog. And then you come home, and by that point you think, actually, I don't want to listen to this. I want to go and watch Footballers' Wives because I just got the new box set. So, like, you're like, I'm going to go downstairs and watch that. And you don't even listen to the record because analog has stood in your way from you connecting with that. Whereas on Spotify, you go, Spotify, I want to listen to Metallica's fourth studio album. And it goes, hey, here that is. Maybe you want a whole playlist of Metallica afterwards to kind of keep going. And you can think, yeah, I do. I'm in the zone. I'm there. Yeah, and you're like, I love And Justice for All. Let's hear some more. And you don't get that with vinyl.
This is the thing, you like Metallica.
No, they're awful. Because they're analog. Because they insist.
Why did you keep listening to them when they were digital?
Because I needed to understand what I didn't understand.
We've got a multi-part comment from LJ official page. Hi there, LJ.
Hi, LJ.
Vinyl has dynamic range of 55 to 70 decibels over digital, sitting up to 90 decibels. As a result, the quality of half. The low quality delivers the dynamic quality of the track, whereas high delivers loudness. Taking this knowledge of wealth from mixing vinyl in the studios. So what do you think about that?
So what was the second part of the question? I only got the first part. Something about vinyl.
He's got this knowledge from his wealth of knowledge from mixing vinyl in studios. So he's an expert in his craft. He says that basically the low quality delivers the dynamic quality of the track, whereas higher delivers loudness.
What were the numbers again? Sorry, just repeat the numbers again.
The numbers are really important here. So vinyl has a dynamic range of 55 to 70 decibels
75.
over digital, sitting at 90 decibels. As a result, the quality of...
Right. So we, as a label, we don't work with anyone from the 90s or before. So this is literally not relevant to what we do. So maybe I'm not saying he doesn't know his stuff. Sounds like he does. But we work in the now. We work in the here and now. We are about the moment and tomorrow.
LJ47 official, LJ's official page. I will tell you that your career is very valid. That you should carry on doing the physical side of things because it is so important for this day and age. You have no idea how much work is out there for you, and it should be respected. And the digital people just don't understand. They just don't understand, and that's the issue here. That's the issue with this Gen Z generation. They just don't get it. They don't get it.
What about like inflation on digital, like digital inflation? Have you thought about that before? Because like when you want to like sum a mix, is it gonna just degrade over time?
No, all my records are still the same size.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because if you got a vinyl, you've got vinyl for 10 years, it gets smaller, doesn't it? It does get smaller, and that's why people use them as like ashtrays and coffee mugs. That's what's happened to them. That's what's happened to them. They've just become wrinkled over time.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, when was the last time you went back to your hard drive and thought, that's funny, it doesn't fit in the USB port anymore, it must have shrunk overnight? Or like, oh, the cover of my hard drive's gone all crinkly because I spilt a Pulston pills on it. You just don't, because digital is what it is. It doesn't change. Like digital is quantifiable. So if something like, you save a file digitally, and 100 years later when you open it, it's the same file.
Right.
Leave a record on, like, next time you're up Chroma Pier, right, going to see the Christmas Pano, leave a record on the end of Chroma Pier, come back in 100 years, bet it's a different size.
You know what? Right.
Cover will be a weird colour, it'll have gone a bit wrinkly.
Call me an idiot, I don't care. Music needs to be idiot-proof. And as you know so well from festivaling this entire summer, I accidentally deleted all my music digitally. True story.
Truly
Very
happened
true story.
right before a gig.
Now, to delete all your physical music means you have to get up, get all your records, carry them down to the skip, set fire to them yourself, pour them in petrol. It's so difficult.
But
to do that digitally, you put it in the recycling and you press delete twice.
But that proves my point. How much more efficient is digital? If you need to get rid of all that stuff, you can do that in 2 clicks. Done. 1, 2. I'm sick of my music. 1, 2.
What if it's an
Done.
accident?
Done.
Where, like, you know, you're just trying to get rid of all the stuff from your old job. When you're trying to delete the files before the FBI knock the door in.
You're trying to get rid of your tax returns before
Yeah.
HMRC open the door.
I had a big gig, like, it was like years ago. now.
Sorry, I've got to go do something analog.
That's okay. You know, I had a big
God,
gig
honestly.
from a few years ago, and just before the big gig, I thought, you know, I'm gonna get all my MP3s out, put them in a bowl, something like that on the side. No, and then I spilled water on them. They fucking dissolved. They dissolved, and I got my finger caught in it, and then I had like 10 songs going around my head at the same time because it absorbed into your skin.
Why? But I like that. Like you've brought this new variation on the swingers party. Instead of a key party, an MP3 party.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Do
Yeah.
an MP3 party.
Well, I'm not that, you know.
We should do an MP3 party.
But yes, do it. I'm up for doing it. No, let's do it. Let's just get all of our MP3s in a bowl, and then just see who comes along, and then whatever happens, happens. It's behind closed doors.
Yeah. It's what we all want. It's what the people need.
And we've got a few comments coming through here. We've got DJ Love in the house says, my unemployed friends at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah, which is, well, that's when the best vinyl gets mixed, really.
2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah.
LJ official page, he's there. He's like, agreed. He said, agreed there. Well, I am sitting on digital. I'm afraid now, as a radio station, naturally have to with the times. But if he had a choice, he'd go back. So he was saying, you know, he's agreeing with us there. Nice one there, LJ official.
Yeah.
Phil Factory official says, you can't say any of you loved carrying the vinyl about from gig to gig. So that's quite an important point.
No, it's good for muscle definition.
And then Junko says, this guy's never said a serious sentence in my life. I was like, I'm 100% serious, says DJ Love. And that's true. If two people say it's serious, it's true. So what were we going to say about carrying stuff from gig to gig? Because we're talking about WAVs being really heavy, and you know you need to carry them from gig to gig as well because they're a lot heavier than MP3. So
I mean, you know, everyone's carried their own weighty bangers on the USB, but the real weight comes when you carry a bunch of records around. And the important thing is to make sure that you have an ergonomic case, so that you don't actually injure yourself, because that's bad. But if you have one which is ergonomic, you carry it from site to site, that it's really good. You don't even have to go to gym. Honestly, you could just do all your weight training. Your core training can be done just from carrying your vinyl records around from gig to gig. Get your steps in,
yeah,
as they say on Mum's Net.
yeah,
And you're good to go. You know, you've done your workout.
yeah. No, you've done your workout, and also so like ambient music vinyl is lighter, isn't it? That is like lighter in weight, softer. So that's one of the things. You want to play the hardest music, but the heavier the music, the heavier the vinyl. It's like you could be 2, 3 times away, and you've got to carry that from gig to gig. You don't have a friend that you can employ. You don't have a car. You don't have a job. You're unemployed. It's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're talking about vinyl. It's just too heavy, mate. It's too heavy. So yeah. So I think I actually agree there with this guy, where you can't say anything about loving carrying vinyl from gig to gig. So you can't say that.
Untrue.
Did you like it?
Yeah, well, because think about it, right?
I mean, I also liked it.
So we have a problem in the contemporary world of sedentary nature. The human body was built to be on the move. You know, if you follow the thread of evolution, you know, cavemen, we were hunters, we were gatherers, we were farmers. You would be up. You weren't up all day. You didn't do this 9 to 5 industrial revolution shit. You got up and you found food for your family, your tribe, your clan, whoever. And then your crew dem, your man dem, your boy dem, your boy dem. And then once you'd got food for the gang, Gucci gang, you'd go to bed. That was it. Day was done. You'd light the fire, you'd sing some songs, you would retire for the day. If it took an hour, it took an hour. If it took 10 hours, it took 10 hours. There was not some 9 to 5 go hunting. It was just do the job, go home. And now we sit on computers all day, working digitally, and we develop all these ailments that can't be cured, whether it's long-term, long COVID, ME, things of that nature, physical things, back pain, rheumatism, arthritis. because we're in positions we shouldn't be in. We're not physically moving. We're not physically doing anything. We're not connecting. Dragging vinyl gig to gig, you're physically active. You're working your traps. You're working your everything. You're working your body. It's a full body workout to get to work and get home.
Would you say that we've got it too easy now? Because at one point we would have been hunting vinyl, ourselves with a bow and arrow, capturing it.
And now an algorithm just gives you the new vinyl.
And then you have the needle. Obviously, that was towed by an oxen to drag the needle through the vinyl. Have we got it too easy?
We have, totally. Yeah.
But I think right. So you've gone back to evolution, and it was always a thing of man tried to create more dead now, and that's the issue. That's the issue that we're facing, right? You've said, right? Well, you should struggle. You should struggle.
To be fair, killing bison was hard. He was the guy.
Hang on.
He was the guy in Street Fighter. He was the guy in Street Fighter with a bus driver hat. He was hard to kill.
That's M Bison, and he's
he was.
Yeah, stood for MP3.
And he was a pain in the ass to kill because
he asked to mix with. No,
exactly. He wasn't. You could mix with him really well.
We could mix him with the grid, not just your ear.
We met him at the Summer Social. He was very easy to mix with.
Exactly.
You put the bison in a record box, or is it a digital entity? What is it?
No, so you use the bison. Basically, bison pelt was used prior to minerals being mined and used for diamond tip needles and that.
Mm-hmm.
Bison pelt was woven very tightly. You would strip a bison, you would skin it.
Yeah.
You would then take the hair from the bison and you would weave that. You would twist it. You would bind it, and you would create a very dense bind, which would work as a needle. That would then be attached to the knuckle of a bison arm. And you would use that to...
No.
So you would attach...
This tickles me because it's so, I love it.
It's exciting.
I love
That's it. It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting because it's real, because it's real. You can touch it. It's tangible. It's tactile.
Yeah.
So you would weave the bison fur into a fine-tipped point, like a pin. And you would attach that to the knuckle of a bison shin, and you would just tip that over the wax cylinder, like we talked about with Noah's Ark earlier in the thing. And bison were on Noah's Ark. That's the other key here.
Yeah.
The whole system is a circle. Time is a flat circle.
Where does bicep come into this? Is that similar to a bicep?
They were later. So
because that's a...
So with the philosophy around time being a flat circle.
Right, okay, so right.
It is a flat circle.
So I think
that's why vinyls are the
the
way they are.
easiest way to explain it. The 1980s TV show Quantum Leap.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel Beckett, my G.
That's analog.
Analog.
Analog. Post-analog.
Panalog.
It uses the same elements of analog, but in a different way.
We call that panalog.
I think his third eye was just very open.
It was open.
Because it was analog.
It was an analog needle.
It was neither. We've spoken about this.
It's an analog needle. So someone's put here modern day Shakespeare. So obviously we did ascertain that Shakespeare did invent digital. No, it was before him.
It's pre-Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a big proponent of it.
Yeah, it was Noah, wasn't it?
No, it was not. Noah didn't invent it, but
he utilized
obviously to get everyone on that boat needed a lot of analog. There was a lot of analog work involved in cataloging all of that and keeping the warmth. Because the thing is, the animals on the boat needed warmth.
It's the warmth that you need.
There's a biblical flood coming. It's cold. It's stormy. Warmth was key to their survival. Yeah. So it had to be an analog job, or the animals wouldn't have had the warmth they needed to survive.
Yeah.
And Noah's whole job would have just been a waste of time. It just would have been, spend 10 years building a boat just for someone to go, sorry, Noah, it's too digital, mate. It's too cold. They're all dead.
But to be fair, if you think about it, the sea is made out of WAV files, isn't it? So when scientists look at it under a microscope, the water is constructed of mostly WAV files.
It's a series of consecutive WAVs.
Yeah, and that's why it makes a noise. That's why the sea makes a sound. Well,
and that links to tidal patterns. So obviously,
the streaming service.
Exactly. It's not named that for nothing.
That makes so much
sense. So the sea is controlled by the moon. Tidal patterns are the magnetic pull of the moon. And they're built of WAVs, hence tidal being called tidal. But so what is? Do you know the music of the spheres? Do you know the theory of the music of the spheres?
Is this by Gerard Depardieu?
No, it's Ian Brown's third studio album.
Ah, yeah.
But each planet emits a frequency, and the frequencies bounce off each other, and that's known as the music of the spheres. So the frequencies between each of the planets in the solar system is a different frequency where they clash, and that's the music of the spheres.
And that's why Vinyls
And
around.
well, so based on research from Jodrell Bang Planetarium in South Africa, they've been studying the music of the spheres for some time to try and prove or disprove this theory. And what they found was when they got the signals back from these samples, they were all 320 MP3s, which is a lossy digital format. You would think that's a negative, lossy, bad, lossy, not good, digital, not good. But the cosmic music of the planets is 320 MP3. Think about that. Just think about that for a moment.
That's insane. No, because that isn't that what like the pyramids are like sort of aligned at 128 kilobytes a second. Because obviously it was so long ago. But then the sample rate was it's like 48,000.
Yeah.
Like was it feet high, which
And
is like
if
the
you-
same as the
if
sample
you-
rate
if
of
you actually-
television on
and
Netflix.
and if you count the sequencing of the bricks, so the bricks are interlocked layer by layer, that's how you build a pyramid or a wall.
No, you're wrong.
They're sequenced in fours, 16s, 32s.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. The formation of the pyramids was for the HMV floor plan. HMV came first.
Which HMV?
HMV, the obvious, the Oxford
Yeah,
Street.
wait.
Oxford Street HMV came before the pyramids in Cairo.
This is a revelation
Moses
to me.
Moses did not
No,
burn the bush for this.
I have been in that store, and I've been to the pyramids, and Ashley is right. The floor plan is identical. I remember, I succinctly remember I was on a college trip to London, to the Houses of Parliament, and I bunked off and went to HMV Oxford Street, and I stood and I listened to, back in the day, pre-digital, when I could listen to an analog CD in a record store. They had the plimps. Do you remember the plimps where you could listen to a new album?
Plimps
You
very
could
well.
press
I know
play
them
on
very
a
well.
CD on a tab.
With
Yep.
the headphones off, you could put them on your head and
Yep.
you could listen to Leanne Rimes.
And I stood there at college and I listened to Kid Rock's fifth album, Rock and Roll Jesus, in Oxford Street HMV. And I thought to myself in that moment, I went, this is scarily familiar. And I took a moment and I thought, and I stood in silence as the music went all summer long. And I thought, this is the floor plan of the Egyptian pyramids.
You know
And
what?
I knew I'd seen it before, and you're right. I'd not connected the dots until you brought it up. But you're right. No, I agree. You're right.
See, he's pushing the CD format here, whereas I'm pushing the cassette.
Great analog format. CD, best analog format.
And to be honest, I think you've been smoking funny things.
No,
Honestly, you have.
imagine a record. Imagine a record, but you can get. Imagine a record, but you can get 15 tracks per side. That's a CD. Best analog format.
Per side on a CD. Do you know how a CD works? You don't do both sides.
Did you never buy a Warner Brothers DVD in 2001?
That's a DVD. They're different.
Same thing. Digital disc. You can have two sides burnt. You can burn both sides of a CD if you need to.
So can we all agree? So the pyramids are a space needle used to play music from the moon. Is that what we're trying to say here?
In essence, I mean, if you want to boil it down to kind of top line thinking, if you want to burn it, boil it down, fry it up to top line thinking.
The only thing we're agreeing on is that the dog from HMV came first, not the Sphinx. That's it.
The dog is so interesting. So this is an interesting, and I actually,
So interesting. Yeah, I can't believe
Joe
that makes so
Rogan,
much sense.
Joe Rogan has spoken on this quite eloquently, I might add. The dog from HMV, and this links back to the Egypt, to the pyramids and all that. The dog from HMV and to Code 9, and this is why Code 9 is such an important figure in the debate. The dog from HMV is actually a cat.
Holy fucking.
And this
Sorry,
is
I didn't mean to
something.
swear, 'cause
well,
we're having an
I mean,
adult
you know,
debate here.
I hate to say it, your channel could get shut down for me saying this, but the truth is important.
It's just an idea. It's just a thought. It's just, what?
The
it's not
dog from
dangerous.
HMV is actually a cat wearing a prosthetic latex mask.
But it was the top dog for Christmas.
Yeah, but that's because the phrase, it could be the
Who's
top
your
cat.
source? Who's your source?
The,
Joe
Egypt-
Rogan Josh.
the Egyptians. The Egyptians are my source.
Dogs are cats, man.
No, not all
Sorry,
dogs.
sorry,
just the
Cool Home.
HMV.
Sorry, Cool Home. We are interactive. So Cool Home says, from a recording perspective, analog gear is trump in taking edge of digital. And I don't really want to be political, but he says, recording perspective, analog gear is trump in taking edge digital. So what? I think Trump used to use a lot of analog equipment originally. I mean, his hair is analog, isn't it?
No, his hair is very digital.
Isn't it?
His hair is cool.
They're getting so good these days.
See, this is where you start to see the Matrix. This is
yes, the numbers.
This is where red and blue pill. This is where red and blue pill theory really
So much for a
starts.
hat. Whoever sent that through.
The Trump's hair is a team of people. Like, can you think of anything more analog than Joe Biden?
Oh,
Is there anything older, dustier, or more analog than Joe Biden?
it's manual.
Yeah, and he beat Trump.
Fuck,
So-
man.
Trump is digital. Biden is analog.
That's insane.
Again, I'm not like this. These are not my opinions. This is just I learn this stuff. I am just a conduit for theory.
You're a conduit for nonsense. Why does Biden use the POTUS Twitter page if he is so analog?
He doesn't.
He does.
It's an algorithm.
You say that. It's not. I've seen him type it. I've seen him type it with my own eyes. He's typed in a tweet on his mobile phone, which was entirely digital. Don't side with him.
Twitter for Steam, more like steam coming out of my ears. I'm angry. I'm angry.
Here's a question for our listeners.
Hi, Spudro.
Hi. Question for our listeners. I'd love to know. I've been wrestling with this one myself for some time. Nokia 3210. Analog or digital?
I would say definitely analog, personally. No, you felt the weight of it. It's
Analog ringtone, digital phone.
true. That's very true. So we got Yaz mentioning here. She says we need to bridge the gap between digital and analog, and then there will be world peace. And then Yadar says, release-wise, digital opens us up to a lot more exposure and potential listeners. So, well, the exposure is bigger in digital, is it?
So, I mean, again, this is where mainstream media comes into it. Like, oh yeah, digital opens up artists to exposure. You know, all that. Great. I don't know if you've, if you read about someone like, climate change, Greta Thunberg, all that. Do you know what exposure leads to? Skin cancer.
Yes, that's
So-
from the sun vinyl of the sun.
So when someone's running around going, oh yeah, it's going to be good for exposure, you're going to get loads of exposure. If you've watched, I don't know if you've watched The Omega Man with Charlton Heston or any post-apocalyptic film, the last thing you want is exposure, all right? Exposure is not going to help your career. Exposure is going to get you in hospital.
I've seen both Silkwood and I've seen I Am Legend.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of them, a dog survived and Kurt Russell survived.
And that dog was really a cat.
Yeah.
And look what exposure did for Meryl Streep.
Oh, mate.
Meryl Streep
No.
is dead now.
No, just leave Meryl Streep out of it. No, my
Can't,
phone's
because
going
we're
to die.
talking about it. So I can't just
Thank
leave
you,
it
guys.
out, can I?
Thank you, guys. I'm going to end the stream now. We love you. Have a great new year. He's going to put his cat
See,
jumper
cat
on.
jumper, analog. He's got an analog
He's got an
jumper
analog
on.
jumper on. What the hell?
The truth is there if you just want to see it. Business Techno Institute.